Hi everyone, I'm Jason from the Brisbane office. I'm here with Vijay. We just finished the autonomous mobile and chatbot workshop. So Vijay, so how do you think it's gone today? What's some of the feedback?
Yeah, it's been a great workshop. I mean, this is one of those workshops where, I mean, I'm always excited to be in Brisbane because every person who signs up for the workshop in Brisbane always turns up compared to other cities that I've been doing in the past. I mean, that's to be honest. It's been a great workshop, I should say, for two reasons. One, people were actually engaged and they were not actually asking to take breaks. They were interested in the content that we were presenting and some of the demonstrations that we were showcasing in terms of what we are capable of as part of the platform offering. And two, I mean, they wanted to actually get more, right? So even though today we've actually focused more on the business side of things, pretty much, I think 70% of the content was more business focused around solutions and the impact that it can create within an organization by adopting our platform. But I think there are people who are actually interested, genuinely interested to try and experience it.
Yeah, it was good to see the CDX mini workshop where you actually went through looking at some value proposition type concepts as part of that, so that some of the use cases that people came out with that were pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was, I mean, that was on purpose. We wanted to introduce right after lunch, given that everyone after lunch seems to be a little, I would say, low on energy. So we thought, how about involving them through a conversational design experience workshop, which we normally do it for 4 hours with business guys. But here, since we have a lot of customers, we thought, why not throw this challenge to them on if they had to come up with a bot within an organization, what would that be? What is the purpose of that? And who would it benefit? And what are the, what is the larger impact that it is going to create within the organization? Right. So we had this nice little template, even though normally we take them through like a 4-hour process. This one was more cut down version given the time constraint.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, everyone, I think we had like 4 teams, and each team had come up with a really interesting use case, and they drive the point home of why these new age digital assistants are critical to organizations.
Yeah.
Right, when it comes to efficiency and productivity.
It was a good number at the end in terms of there was an optional lab where we actually did the conversational design workshop, mini one, as well as getting some hands-on with Oracle Digital Assistant. So there was good retention in terms of people hanging around just for that. And actually, we had some good feedback in terms of it was actually simpler than people first expected. So well done.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, there were few people were saying they didn't expect the workshop to be this good because they had, I think, probably, I don't know, some kind of expectations set already. And then when we actually started talking about few real world solutions that were already in place, some of the local ones, and how, like, for example, the Adelaide University one, and then and also talking about different styles of digital assistant, right? I think in the marketplace, probably they are tuned to one way of a chatbot doing a specific thing, whereas here we cover the entire spectrum and what are the potential use cases. I think that was well received.
Yeah, there was definitely references to Alexa type just that back and forth, the virtual assistant style approach, but not much more in terms of complexity, especially from a corporate perspective, how we're trying to optimize and trying to automate a lot of these little mini flows that people need to actually work through.
Yeah, I mean, we talked, I think one thing, I think there were a couple of customers who were really interested in this whole framework of especially rolling out enterprise digital assistant, which means they have to cater to their HR, they have to cater to their finance, they have to cater to their own employees in general. So that would be a big challenge if they have to ask all of their employees to, friend, say, 100 different chatbots. Instead, there's only one employee digital assistant, which they need to know, and it's the digital assistant that takes care of which functionality of a chatbot that it needs to invoke and route the request to.
Yeah.
So,
I was quite impressed from one use case that was mentioned there. I won't mention the name or the brand, but they were able to do 3 or 4 different prototypes within a couple of days, and actually deploy them into where customers were actually doing.
Yeah.
So this rapid prototyping and getting and doing experiments and almost like that A/B testing style approach to get it out there to understand what's valuable to customer is an interesting platform that you can see customers actually doing that.
Yeah, I think basically it's all since much of the complexity is abstracted into the platform, and we want to make it easier for business and the IT at the same time. So they both come on board into the platform, and they start building these prototypes quickly, get the business buy-in, and get the developers in to actually enhance that and roll it into put it into production. Right. So we had few use cases where customers were able to roll it out in less than a couple of weeks.
So that enables people to create scale and actually do more things in a shorter period of time. I do want to change tact a little bit more about you, and we sort of had this conversation just before around some of the things that you liked to make impact on, and that was around that whole social enterprise side. So where's that passion from, and tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's been probably it goes back to maybe when I started at Oracle. So when we had these volunteer projects that you can actually sign up, where you can have these volunteer weekdays, like you can take about 5 days off, and you can actually work on some project outside of your organization. So at that time, I was based out of Oracle India, so I had this opportunity to work in Bangalore, where I had exposure to a lot of these social enterprises doing some great work right at the grassroots level, trying to create an impact. So I was looking for this project, and I came across a few NGOs who are doing this great work, and I thought, okay, how can I contribute? And came across this NGO who are actually working for kids who are underprivileged, who cannot go through formal education, or they have some backgrounds which doesn't facilitate them to go to a regular school. So I wanted to actually contribute my bit, so came up with a program of work wherein the kids can go through a formal education, where attending our centers and go through, and me being in technology, I wanted them to introduce computers. Right, so a bit of a computer education, making it fun, and then they learn through that process as well. So during that process, it was great to actually interact with so many people, like-minded people who want to actually create a social impact. And since you have to, and I was always passionate about how can we take a small activity and how can we actually scale that, right? So while the NGOs focused on a particular suburb within the city, I wanted to actually see if we could actually replicate that in multiple locations. So it was all about scale, and that's where technology comes into play. So because we had to get more people on board, we had to get more experts from the field, like from the education sector involved, and how can we actually bring all them together so that they go through the formal process of engaging these kids and going through that education. Right. So it was a great learning experience for me.
Yeah.
I think that's where the passion comes from as well. They're basically interacting with all these different people, both from professional friend, non-professional friend, and also working with the kids as well, who didn't have that privilege that you and me would have normally had. Right. So trying to give my bit to the community.
No, that's fantastic, Vijay. And I think from a personal point, then that's actually a great thing to do. You know, I appreciate that you're sharing this story, and we'll catch you. So your next workshop is in Sydney?
Yeah, it's in Sydney
on Thursday.
On Thursday, yes. Yeah.
So it should be a good turnout, yeah, and we'll post some things depending on when this video goes up. We'll post some links to that.
Yeah, nice talking to you, Jason. Yeah.
Thanks, Vijay.
Thanks. It's my pleasure.